Hey you guys, welcome back to Lisa and Company. We need to get started because I have 15 dollar store ornaments we're gonna make today. My goodness, you guys, let's get started. Okay, so we all know where to find these ornaments at Dollar Tree, but you guys also know that I'm more of the black and white decor as opposed to the red decor. So I am gonna give one of these tiny little trucks a makeover. First things first, pop it all apart, take it off the tree. I did do a little sample there because I was kind of worried that my chalk paint wasn't going to stick really well. Of course it did. Those chalk type paints will always stick to plastic. Whatever, I was a little nervous or something. Anyway, once I have it all apart, I'm just going to give it a coat of the linen white chalk paint from Rust-Oleum. And then we're going to keep going with this makeover. For the Merry Christmas on the bottom, I am just taking my gold marker from Dollar Tree and I'm literally just going over top. This is when I realized that some of that red paint goes down and onto the white plastic, but I decided it was going to be an accent as opposed to an issue. Of course, once I'm finished that, I'm going to put it all back together. I'm not using the wire pieces because the paint isn't completely cured and I don't want to scratch it. So I'm gluing it back together. Now I'm going to take my Sharpie marker and I'm going to define those wheels. Now you guys, I like to keep it real for you and here we go. Almost there. Maybe we can even call this a pro tip. Watch what you're doing after you use a paint marker. They don't dry instantly. This is not a Sharpie, friends. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Let's get that tree attached and... Yeah, how about we smear that black marker all over my fresh white paint? All right, no worries. I got it all fixed up, used a little piece of baker's twine and hung it on my tree. And isn't it a beaut? Up next, not much cuter than these tiny little trees from the Dollar Tree. And I did find these little tiny tubes. I have no idea if they were part of Christmas or not. So I'm using one of the Dollar Tree blocks and just attaching it to the inside of the lid. That's just purely for height, so that when we add our snow in, it covers that and it just elevates the tree a tiny bit. You guys, this couldn't be more simple. I'm telling you, it took me longer to clean up the faux snow than it did to do this entire DIY. I added the snow, I screwed the top back in with my tree attached, and I found the best way to do it was to kind of bring the snow slowly down the side so it didn't get all caught in the tree. And oh my goodness, these are so pretty. I could literally have just covered one of the tiny little trees with this and been so happy. Now you could embellish this with anything you wanted. I decided to go with red, but you could use a black and white ribbon, you could use a just white ribbon, you could use baker's twine, you can embellish the top or not. There are so many ways to personalize this. Trust me, if I'd had more time, I would have shown you a whole bunch of different ways to do these. These are so stinking cute. I think I'm gonna make a whole bunch more. This super simple DIY has been rolling around in my brain for a while. We are going to take a few pieces of greenery, and I'm using these frosted ones from Dollar Tree. We're cutting them down so they're just probably in the neighborhood of about 4 inches long. We're going to stack them together until we've got a shape that looks good, is pleasing, and hangs naturally, and you're going to see why in just a second. Then I'm going to tie it together with a piece of the twine. After I've tied it together, I'm going to create a loop for the top, and that's what we're going to use to hang it from. And that is simply just going to be glued on either side. Once that glue is dry and you can actually get your fingers on here, we are going to take that baker's twine or ribbon or jute twine or whatever you are using for this, and we are going to wrap the top, essentially creating a tassel. That's right, we are making these super cute greenery, and in this case Christmas greenery tassels. I am crazy in love with this. I think this would look really cute on a tiered tray, hanging on a door handle. I actually put them on a cabinet in my room and absolutely adore them. Once I was finished with this, it wasn't quite enough. You know why? Because I had this really cool idea that I could take a bunch of leftover greenery. These are just leftover from other projects. A couple of pieces of evergreen, a couple of pieces of boxwood in different sizes. Same thing, stack them together, tie the top, and wrap it with whatever ribbon or rope you're using. Look how pretty these are. I actually think they're really sharp and fairly elegant. For this DIY, we're going to need some Dollar Tree garland ties and some of these Dollar Tree wood rounds. You're going to see these making quite a few appearances throughout this video. Now, I like to give these guys a haircut, so once I have got the right size measured so that it will fit just right on this wood round, I am going to trim this baby up. It just makes it look, again, a little tidier and a little more high-end. We're going to glue this down right on top, and I think you have a pretty good idea of where we're going here. We are making a really cute wreath ornament. This is a great time if you have a few stragglers to trim them off. Now I'm going to make a really cute tiny bow for the top of this. Again, I want it to look like a miniature version of the wreath that might be hanging on your door or window. Once I finish futzing around with that, I'm going to glue it down, and I decided this mini super tiny wreath just needed a little bit of embellishment, and what's better than the Dollar Tree pip berries. So I'm just trimming a few of those off, and I'm going to pop them on with my glue gun. The worst part is trying to put just a teeny tiny little bit of glue down to pop these on. Glue a piece of the ribbon on the back that matches the wreath, and look at that. You have a super cute ornament for your tree. Same thing, this would be great as a gift tag too. I have so many of these wood beads. I've ordered them from Amazon, and I got like 1,000 pack. Now you can see that I've already created one of these because I wanted to make sure it worked out just so. Now I am just using beads in a graduated size, but what I'm doing here, and the reason that I'm using the needle and not just threading them normally, is because I want to bring that string back up through the last bead to finish it off. It's easier to see than explain, so hopefully you can see exactly what I'm doing here. So once I go around that bottom bead, I'm going to feed my twine right back up through all the other beads before I tie a knot at the top of the top bead, and then tie a knot in the top for the hanger. I just love this kind of ornament. I think it's a great filler for any of your holiday decor. All right, who doesn't love the tumbling tower blocks? They are so easy, inexpensive, and so versatile. I started making one ornament and instantly had an idea for another. So this is actually like 2 ornaments in one. For the first one, I'm attaching the pieces side by side and I'm just varying the heights a little bit just to keep it interesting, almost so it looks like an old picket fence or sign. I actually got the idea for both of these from large signs I saw on Pinterest, and I thought they would be great in a smaller version as an ornament. Now, once they're all glued together, I am going to give this one a little bit of stain, but it's not actually stain. It's seriously watered down black paint. And the best part is, by the time I finished doing the entire one, it was pretty much dry. I just love it when a plan comes together. For the horizontally stacked one, I'm just going to take what's left on my paintbrush and just give it a very easy dry brush. Not too much. I really want to see the wood, and I definitely want to see all that wood grain, but just so it looks like it's been around for a while. Now for this one, I have this tiny little wood piece I picked up at the dollar store, and I am simply going to glue that on completely raw, just the way it is, on top of my faux black stain. I think it looks fabulous and stands out beautifully. The other one is getting one of my tiny little Dollar Tree trees, and I'm putting it on the little shelf I made by turning one of the Jenga blocks sideways. I love the way these look. All they need now is some hangers so we can hang them on the tree. For this one, I really wanted to do this in one piece. I wanted to have it wrapped on either side, loop over the top, and come down the other side. Now, again, it's one of those ones, it's a little tricky to explain, but you guys are smart and you can see exactly how I finished this one. Just imagine how many of these you could make with one box of blocks. And you guys, this one right here, I think is my favorite from all the ornaments today. All right, sort of an ornament, sort of a decor piece. You can use it wherever you see fit. We're going to use 3 Dollar Tree garland ties, trim them down really good, and check it out. I got smarter this time because I'm doing it over a bowl. You guys, it took me so long to clean up after the first one I did. You know why? Because they're staticky and they stuck to my surface. Once you've got those all trimmed up, you're simply going to make 3 little wreath forms with them. Make sure they were all the same size, so do it one on top of the other, just so that it looks consistent when you do it. As I'm saying this, I'm actually thinking it would be really cute to do it from smallest to largest, or 2 smaller ones with a larger one in the middle. You know what? That's the beauty of DIY. You can just evolve it as you go along. What we're going to do for this one is take the same piece of those Dollar Tree pip berries. I love these white ones. And we're just going to wind it around. Super, super simple. I didn't do anything special. I may have done a little bit of manipulating to make sure I got as many of those pip berries at the front as possible. Now I'm going to attach them with tiny little pieces of white ribbon from Dollar Tree. We're going to do it once here. We're going to do it once to attach the other end. And then I'm just going to attach a very small, really cute bow for the top before I hang this on a drawer pull, actually. I hope you guys are following me over on Instagram at Lisa & Company DIY, because I share all kinds of extra tips. I do little mini tutorials over there when I'm just working on something around the house, and I would hate for you to miss out on any of our DIY inspiration. don't you find that sometimes it's the simplest DIYs that come out the best? For this one, we're switching gears to a little mini trash to treasure makeover. I have this tiny sign that's been kicking around in my stash for ages. It cost me next to nothing from the thrift store. So I am going to give this a coat of paint. And I'm wondering if you can figure out what I'm doing with this. We are going to turn this into a tiny little gift and hang it on the tree. Now, you can get the really small box frames at Dollar Tree, so you could do the same thing with that. I actually have a whole bunch of those in my stash too, but this one had been kicking around, and you know, I was trying to use up so much stuff this holiday season and I didn't get there. I'm pretty sure the stash is no smaller. What about you guys? Once that paint is dry, we're going to take some of that really pretty black and white plaid ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm simply going to make it look like we've wrapped up this box. So we're going to attach one piece from one side all the way around to the other side. Once that's done, I'm going to go to the opposite sides and I'm going to attach pieces that end in the middle. So again, that's one of those way easier to see than explain moments, but I want to be able to tie it on the front of the package, air quotes, just like you would if it was a real package. Once I have those pieces on, I'm going to take this little bit of greenery to embellish the front, and I'm literally just going to tie it. I don't even end up gluing that on. Tails that I trim off are actually going to be perfect to make the loop for the top of this package. So I'm just gluing those in the very center on a tiny dab of glue, tying off the top, and I'm going to go hang it on my tree. This one was another sleeper, and I'm not going to lie to you, it came out even better than I thought, and I'm seriously thinking of doing a few more of these with some Dollar Tree box frames. DIY number 9 already. You guys are champs for sticking with me this far. This is another really easy one using some of the tumbling tower blocks. Now I am missing a tiny bit of footage here, so forgive me, but I've attached 4 of these together to create almost like a little frame. Then I am simply going to wrap the Dollar Tree twine around and around and around. I don't even know how to explain this. I have no idea how this came out of my DIY brain. I could see little piles of things while I was working on ornaments, and they were sort of screaming at me to put them together. Now for the front of this one, I'm going to use one of those Dollar Tree wood stickers. And in this package, it was stars and snowflakes and trees. And this one to me just felt so natural that I decided to use just the unvarnished, unpainted little wooden Christmas tree. Absolutely nothing to it. You could make a dozen of these in no time, and it would cost you like less than $1. All right, we are cruising right along here. Let's get started on DIY number 10. So I have had this bin of pearls, I kid you not, for probably 10 years, and I've never used one. So enter another one of the Dollar Tree wood circles, and we're going to create like a messy, looks like a pile of old pearls, and I love that these were in multiple colors. and I am just smashing this thing with a ton of glue and piling on the pearls. This was so much fun and so random. Now, you guys know when you do something random, you end up going back and fixing it a little bit. So I did do that. Now, to create the hanger, I cut a long piece of this white and gray ribbon. I found it in the wedding section at Dollar Tree, and I'm putting it on so you can see the loop at the top and tails at the bottom. It almost has like a medallion feel to it, but isn't that elegant? It's definitely still kind of got a farmhouse vibe because it's so simple, but I love how elegant it is. So I figure everyone has a button stash somewhere. I ended up picking these up ages ago and I've been hanging on to them forever, but I also have a button bag, so this could be done any number of ways. All I'm going to do is create a line of glue right around the edge of this, and I'm just going to mix it up with the different sizes and the 3 different colors of buttons, and I'm just going to layer them up as I go and create a ton of texture on this ornament slash wreath slash little tiny piece of home decor. I imagine this would look really neat on a much larger piece as well. You could have a whole sort of really neat vintage button themed decor. Wouldn't that be so much fun? Of course, this is going to need a tiny little bow and a hanger just like all the other ornaments. So once I'm finished stacking these up and I'm happy with how it looks, I decided to use this cute little piece of red gingham ribbon. This is actually left over from Valentine's at the Dollar Tree, because goodness knows we all have stuff in our stash, and I love it when you can use it for different holidays. So attach the tiny bow, attach a little hanger on the back, and this one was done so quickly, and honestly I had so much fun making this. I actually had so much fun making most of these ornaments, and there were so many ideas coming to me as I was doing it. But you guys, 15 ornaments, I figured that was enough for all of us. Cruising around Pinterest one day, I saved this pin. It was an embroidered ornament, and I don't have the talent to do that, but I figured using my Sharpie pens and my oil pens, I could recreate this on a wooden ornament. This ornament actually came from Dollarama, and it's a little bigger and a little heavier, but I wanted some more space to do all of the drawing and embellishing because it was going to be easier. Now I want to add ribbon all the way around this edge. This one's from Dollar Tree. Oh my goodness, I've had it forever. I don't even remember. And what I did was create a loop right at the top of one of those points. So I've integrated the hanger as I've attached the ribbon all the way around the edge. I think it finishes it off beautifully, and I didn't have to glue anything onto the back of it. This would be a great project. Sitting one night watching a Christmas movie, you could make a whole bunch of these and vary them as you went along. Different colors, different styles, different paint color on the background. The sky's the limit on these ones. Alrighty, if my mom's watching, I'm going to be in trouble for this one. This is a beautiful ornament she bought for Izzy a few years ago, but it was so delicate and it got broken. However, I figured all of this wire and embellishment could be reused and upcycled into another ornament. So I'm just very, very carefully taking apart and unbending all those pieces of wire. Now I've taken one of these tiny little wooden stars, already painted it white, and I'm really just going to line it up and reuse it just the way it was in that tiny little ceramic ornament. I'm just trimming the wire and bending everything so I can reuse it just the way I did before. And then I'm going to lay down a bead of glue right down the back here to hold it on. This is clear glue in my glue gun, so it's not going to look messy, but it is on the back and hopefully you won't see it anyway. Once I've attached that top really pretty curly hanger, I took another one of those stars and I used some of that leftover stain that I had from the previous ornaments, and I'm attaching this but just slightly off, almost so that the white star created a highlight behind it. Now I'm using my white Sharpie pen. Here's the deal. This is a water-based one, not an oil-based, and I was having a heck of a time getting some really good coverage with this. So what I ended up doing was going back and forth several times. I just did some lines and dots in the corners, and that just gave it a really cute little farmhouse vibe. Are you there? Are you still with me? Well, good for you, because we've made it to the last ornament. So I'm taking one of these white circles. Wow, we haven't seen these very many times, and some of that grosgrain ribbon. I did manage to thread it through my craft needle, and I'm going to thread my Amazon beads right onto it. I wasn't sure how well this is going to work, but boy, oh boy, you guys, I love it. So all I did was thread these on, and then I threaded it on to the little wood circle there, and then did the same thing and went right back through the holes. I couldn't believe that the ribbon fit through twice, but it did, and I totally love it. When you're threading that through the second time, just take it easy. Don't pull too hard. You don't want to fray the ribbon on the inside of those beads because they don't have a great finish on them. So I just went slowly, and look at that. All of the DIYs I've done, it had never occurred to me before this to use ribbon to thread beads. You guys, I hope you were enjoying all the content we've created through this holiday season. Please do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We are so close to our next goal of 10,000 subscribers, and I would love it if you could be the ones who got us to that milestone. To finish this off, I am just going to take some of the Dollar Tree little tiny wood letters. I'm going to use that gold pen on them again. I've got the word joy. You could do whatever you wanted with these. Keep in mind, with a DIY like this, you could dry brush over this, you could do a different color, you could paint your beads, you could add all kinds of other embellishments. It's another one of those DIYs that you can do to suit you and your home decor. So I just gave these a little bit of gold, not even bling, we're gonna call it farmhouse bling, and then glued them right on to the circle. And that's it. You did it. You absolutely made it. 15 awesome farmhouse DIY ornaments that you probably have everything you need to make right in your stash. You guys, thanks so much for joining me today. This is our last video for the DIY holiday season. I do have one more coming up on December 29th, and it is our top 20 of 2020. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that one. Thanks as always for your support, you guys. Have an awesome Christmas and holiday season, and we'll see you next year.